Here's one more question. Jonathan, I keep on chasing this client, asking for when is the best time to meet up. Let's say you're selling some food, you're selling some clothing, you're selling in a multi-level network marketing, you're selling insurance or real estate. Okay? When can they launch the restaurant and the site? But they often tell me, I don't know or I'm not sure yet. So this is a classic customer that says, I don't know. But their I don't know actually means I don't want to meet up with you. Or you're the least of my priorities. Okay? So what is the psychological trick to make these people more decisive? Right? And the answer is simple. The clue has something to do with how we prefer examination tests. Question. Given an option between answering a multiple choice question or fill in the blanks, letter A or letter B, which one is better? Which one do you prefer? When I was in high school, I prefer multiple choice. Why? There's a higher chance that I will get the answer right, right? And also, the answer is already spoon-fed to me. I just need to select which one. So the answer here, and Teresa got this answer right. The answer is based on a psychological trick. To make a person respond to you, do not give them an open-ended question. Give them a set of options. So tactic number 1, convert your one-dimensional request to a set of choices. I'll give an example. One of my favorite psychological studies is when a group of parents were asking their children to water their plants. And in their experiment, they were asked to convert that request into a set of options. So some of the parents would say, could you please water the plants in the morning? Or is it okay if you water it in the afternoon? Which one is best for you? Or say something like, John, I'll take care of the dishes. Could you do the plants for me? Or do you prefer to wash the dishes instead? In that experiment, when you ask the person to do the task, those who are given the option were likely doing the task by 30% more. Why? Giving people options gives them the illusion that something is already made for them, right? It gives them the illusion that either they don't have a choice and they just need to press the button at the end of the day. So rephrase your statements if you're talking to customers. John, let's ground this in reality. How does this look like when I'm engaging my customers? So when you send an email or when you send a text, and mind you, it's a very short sentence, right? An example, by the way, before I do that, I'll give you one more example just to prove to you that this works in real life. Remember Windows, every time they ask you to download a new software because they are upgrading it. So here's a screenshot of upgrading to Windows 10. It gives you two options, upgrade now or upgrade tonight. Technically speaking, you have no choice. You have to upgrade. There is no such thing as not upgrading. But why does Microsoft give you two options? It gives you the illusion that you have the power to choose. It gives you the illusion that you have the liberty and the freedom to decide when in fact you don't have. And most of the time, people will click one option. How does this look like now in real life, in the corporate world? So consider converting your request to a set of choices. When you're asking for a call, right? So you're asking for a call. For those who may not be familiar, a call in sales lingo is an interaction between you and a customer. So some customers need to have multiple calls until they purchase the item. An example of that, again, are insurance and real estate companies. No one usually buys a property, a $10 million property in one call. You will usually get 2 or 3 or 4, and sometimes even 5. So when you're asking for a call schedule, do not say, Mr. Reyes, when are you free to discuss again? Don't give them an open-ended question. You're empowering them to say no. Instead, say something like, Mr. Reyes, so are you free Thursday, 3 p.m. or Saturday at 10 a.m.? I'm also free, by the way, on Friday, 12 p.m. Can I get an exclamation mark? Do you see the power of that? And that's even better because when you send that on a text message or in an email, the options are easy to look at. You can put it in bullet points. You can put it in a table, right? Or you can even create a survey if you're talking to multiple clients at the same time. If you're inviting someone to attend your webinar, say something like, Mr. Santos, the live webinar will be at 2 p.m. today, or you can also watch the recorded version tomorrow. We were going to release it at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Another one, if you're requesting for an approval of a document, let's say you're talking to a VIP, you can say something like, Mr. Jonathan, can I follow you up on WhatsApp for the document, or do I claim it from your secretary? Which one do you prefer? Implicitly, what you're really trying to say is, hey, I need that document. But instead, you're creating an illusion where you're saying, can I follow up on WhatsApp because I need that document? Or do you want it to be from your secretary because I still need that document? That psychological trick likely makes people say yes. Can I get an exclamation mark? Do you see the power? Selling is part of acting. Acting is part of negotiating. Negotiating is understanding the psychology of people. And by the way, even if we're talking about chats and emails, this is applicable even when you're talking to someone face to face. Okay? Tactic number 2. When you are asking someone to decide, here's one more way. Don't just make them decide. Serve a recommendation. Because when you give them a recommendation, psychologically, you know what happens? Likely they choose the recommendation that you give. Here's another example of a screenshot from Windows. Do you notice that every time you have to download a Windows software, it has 2 options? It has option 1, yes, do this automatically, or letter B, no, let me choose what to do. But it will always have that word that says recommended. This is not only in Windows, it's also visible, for example, in Lazada and Shopee. Every time you're looking at different options of colors, flavors, or sizes, there's always going to be that option where they will indicate it as bestseller option, most chosen option, recommended option. Sometimes they're not even real. But when you indicate that, it gravitates, the eyes of the person gravitate towards it. Why? Because they will trust your recommendation. So that's the other tactic here. If you want the person to be more decisive, in your email, in your chats, don't just give them the option. Tell them, of the 3 options, which one do you think is best? In this example, in a lot of studies, 90% of Microsoft users choose this option because it's labeled as recommended. Right? So for example, again, let me go back to that example a while ago. When you're asking someone to attend a webinar, don't just say, Mr. Santos, are you willing to attend the Friday 2 p.m. webinar or Saturday 11 a.m. webinar? Can I recommend? Let's do the Saturday for you because I understand that you might be busy on a Friday. Not only will they appreciate that you know their personal lifestyle and schedule, they will appreciate that you thought about them, that you were considerate about their own limitations.